What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Goofy Investing, where we talk about investing into the stock market. Welcome to the land of small caps, because as you can see, a lot of the stocks that I'm invested in and a lot of the stocks that I cover are in the small cap arena. Today's video is going to be about Planet 13 and some updates thereof. All right. So let's look at the actual technicals of price action. Max on ticker PLNH, we're down 24.03% since the actual conversion to the ticker symbol, at least. This is a cannabis company that is headquartered in the United States. So this is a US company. Market cap is 191.66 million. If you've been following along in my channel, I have been covering this stock in and out. Haven't been covering it as heavy as before, but there are some changes and catalyst stuff happening with the actual equity in the company. So this video is going to address that. All right. So let's pull up our handy dandy checklist that I created. All right. For this actual small cap. All right. As you can see, the green highlighted lettering with the actual check marks actually confirm things that have happened. These are the upcoming catalysts, part of my thesis, and so forth, and actually steps in order for the actual equity to be realized, to have more, how do you say, reputation, reputable, being able, having this equity be a stock that is more investable, more reputable in this actual industry. Because in this industry in the United States, marijuana legalization is not at the federal level. So investment institutes and a lot of investment capital is actually restricted from investing in these type of equities. Okay. But the retail investor, people like you and me, are not restricted from investing in these type of equities. I view Planet 13 as more the initial stage of venture capital investing, which is pretty exciting because it's publicly traded. Now, the last actual catalyst we had was there's a DEA response to reschedule the flowers to Schedule 3. All right. If you've been following along on my channel back several months back, I projected Planet to double within a matter of months. Obviously, that has not happened, and I'll tell you why that has not happened. All right. Because the DEA is pretty much punted the rescheduling to the right. They've delayed, unfortunately. That goes to show, all right, you can't tell the future of when a stock is going to pop. You can only gauge it with catalysts. All right. So, and not only that you can't tell and you can only gauge, you can get ready for building your position to have your position ready for that. Okay. So that's the advantages of being a buy and hold long-term investor in these actual micro and small caps. You're also advantaged in the sense of you're able to identify more disconnects within the market due to lack of analyst coverage here. As you can see, there's only one or two analysts that are actually covering the equity, and there's more lack of information. So as an investor, you get to build your alpha, or you get to capitalize off that alpha of disconnecting on the pricing. All right. The price is what you pay. The value is what you get. But anyway, going back to it. All right. With this actual delay of DEA rescheduling. All right. A decision is going to be made after the elections. Okay. So they're going to have the elections. And then there's a hint here that it's going to be a scheduled hearing to propose the change for December 2nd. So that can be read a couple ways. All right. So it can be read as they're going to have the hearing on December 2nd, and then maybe they'll have another hearing if they don't come to a conclusion. If they come to a conclusion on a hearing, maybe they reschedule faster. All right. Either way, the actual tailwinds of the equity and the thesis are still intact. The momentum towards legalization is continuing. All right. So, what does what does the reschedule, what's the impact of the rescheduling and the 280E tax removal benefit um, make an impact, or what type of impact does it have on Planet 13? Well, we'll go to profitability right here. All right. It impacts Planet's margins of profitability. All right. So, net income, you see this negative 73 net income. I'll admit, Planet just got done with a merger and acquisition. So you're going to see some funky variance happening with the actual margins with Planet 13 after the acquisition. So as quarter and quarter goes by, these margins will start actually realizing to more of to view of them as they were contracted and there's more upside on a tailwind, or there's more downside pressure to come, what have you. All right. So we're still in the stages of post acquisition, a risky acquisition in Florida with the Vitacan. And those actual margins will come to fruition quarter after quarter. Now, with this actual acquisition being complete, we have another legal tailwind in the state level of Florida, where they're going to have an actual state vote. And this state vote I'm tracking is supposed to be, let me pull this up. All right. In November, there's going to be a recreational ballot vote in November at the Florida state level. I'm under the impression that most people want it legalized recreationally. People want more freedom to do what they want. And I think that will serve as a tailwind. And what's surprising is that a lot of the Republicans in that state area, in that state legislature, are probably for it. Okay. So that would serve good for Planet 13 and increased revenue in the sense of the consumer doesn't have to go through medical channels to actually get product and so forth. So it would open up more of the floodgates for more customers to buy the product. Okay. Earnings. Let's go to earnings estimates. All right. We're set to be profitable by the end of next year, 3 cents EPS. Now, lack of analyst coverage. This is just one analyst. So, I mean, we'll see more as the company conducts more earnings and we get closer towards the end of the year on actually if the profitability of this company is going to come to fruition. As you can see on projected revenue, all right, we're projected on consensus estimates to grow 28.32% this year. All right. This is probably due to more of the tailwinds of that acquisition in realizing the revenue growths and so forth. And then next year, consensus estimates got us growing 39.64%. With the tailwind of the Fed lowering and more quantitative easing of the dollar, lowering interest rates, that 50% basis cut, just for starters, we're heading in the right direction to helping the consumer out. And when you have a more healthier consumer, they get to participate more in actual leisure activities. Okay, and this is a product that's in demand. All right, so I can see this 39.64% being even higher, depending on the actual ballot. Depending on the actual ballot results here in Florida coming in November. And within the next few months, this is going to be an exciting time for Planet because we're going to be able to get more codified results on legislatures and so forth. Okay, so the whole idea of, if you're investing in this company, is you believe that they have a moat with their actual retail real estate product as far as an entertainment value, along with their licensing and their expansion to be more vertically integrated as an IMSO, and the potential to be added to the IMSO ETF, further uplisting after the 280E into the NASDAQ for more liquidity funds to come in and boost this stock. Okay. Excuse me. So that's going to be one of the actual things to look forward to as an investor of Planet. What am I doing about this? Okay. Well, just because, just so you know that I'm just not some person on YouTube with an opinion, I actually have a stake in Planet. I got 16,500 shares, little over 10 grand invested capital at 62 cents a share. I'm happy with my position for now. Depending on legislatures and the performance of the acquisition, depending on these catalysts and where the actual value of the stock price is as opposed to the value where I'm valuing the company on their upside, I may pick up more shares or I may decide to just hold. All right, I am still bullish on Planet 13. Let's talk about profitability real quick. With that earning consensus estimates of 3 cents EPS, some things I'm going to be looking at. We'll go to the financials, look at these cash flow, or look at the actual cash flow statement. Net income, all right, on an annual basis, we're burning a lot of cash, all right. On a quarterly basis, the cash burn has been slowed down in March and June. We're going to see how bad the cash burn is this upcoming earnings, which is scheduled for November 8th. Okay. There's going to be a lot of volatility coming into the beginning of November. We got the November ballots happening in Florida, and then we actually have the actual company reporting earnings to capture more of a full revenue piece of realization of revenue after the actual acquisition. Okay. This past earnings that they reported, they only captured maybe half of revenue recognition after the post acquisition. So they only captured maybe a month and a half of the revenue. So we should see more of an increase in revenue as a contribution post acquisition. All right. Now, what has this done? All right, this cash burn and the acquisition. Well, I tell you what, it's affected the balance sheet. So, balance sheet is kind of taking a hit, and not surprisingly so. Still got enough liquidity. We're gonna see with the upcoming earnings if they have enough liquidity to get through to profitability, depending on 280E and so forth, or they're gonna have to do another capital raise. Okay, these are my thoughts about it. If the actual ballots, merger and acquisition, if we get a positive tailwind on price action, and the stock maybe triples or quadruples, I'm gonna be looking for the management to raise equity. All right, I want them to dilute, and I want them to put cash on the balance sheet and go back to a net cash position. Okay. If stock price action is down, I want the company to be doing cost-cutting measures and I do not want them to do another capital raise, and I want them to get us to the finish line to profitability and then working on actual cash flows to increase balance sheet and do debt reduction and so forth. Okay, so that's how I view it. Comment down below how you're feeling about Planet. And hit me up if you have any questions. If you're getting value out of this channel, consider liking and subscribing. I'm always covering Planet 13 and a bunch of other little mid to small cap stocks. And consider joining my Patreon. All right, get access to the hidden gem collection, be with like-minded investors, get coaching and in actual investing instructionals and education. I got different products on there that you can hold for perpetuity. You can download them to your desktop. Even after unsubscribing, you can still have those products. And keep in mind, I'm always adding more products as we go further and further along with the Patreon. So for $5 a month, I think you really can't beat it. All right. So thank you all for y'all's time. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your week and stay bullish, my friends.